Hello and welcome to the show. For today's autocross car build, I've got the Mitsubishi GTO, a car I would quite probably own one of these in real life if it wasn't for the fact that insurance was so damn expensive on them, and I am hoping that it will do relatively well, fingers crossed, for this. I suspect it's going to be a bit too heavy. Now, the handling might not be too bad. We are going to have four-wheel drive, which can be pretty good for traction, but it is a rather heavy car. When we go over here, starts off £3,700. Weight reduction is going to bring it down to 2,900. Maybe if we can kind of work around some bits and pieces, I might be able to get it down to a little bit more of a sensible level, but I suspect that may be the biggest problem on the vehicle. I definitely want those parts on, and we're definitely going to want some nice race tyres. Well, it hasn't quite got into A-class yet. We're going to get 265s on the front and probably the same size tyres on, indeed we are, same size tyres on the rear. So 265s all around. Not the greatest, certainly, but we will have to, well, we'll have to wait and see how it does. There's a fair amount of options in the way of body kits. Not that we're going to be going for any of them. We're going for the Forza parts because we want the downforce. Wow, that dropped off 7 PI. That's a fairly sizable amount to check off the vehicle. Quite useful. I mean, the only downside of having the aero parts, other than the fraction weight added, is the drag that will slow down top speed. But we don't need to worry about that because we're going autocrossing with the car. Right, we are going to have to stick on the rest of this stuff. I haven't put on the roll cage either yet. Bugger, that's going to be another fair amount of weight to put into the car. Here we go. It has lost another 2 PI, but that's 163 more pounds of weight. Let's have a... Oh, actually, shall we have a look? I tend to keep the standard engines, but what... okay, our option is the 4.5 litre V8. Not a bad engine, and slightly lighter, but it'll put us up into S-Class, so we're not going to be having that one then. Let's go for exhaust. Always a good place to start with the car. Saves almost £100 of weight. That's not too bad a going, but I'm not going to be able to save very much more. Sometimes, no, they're not going to say sometimes turbos can reduce the weight. Very rarely, no, not the case on here. Doesn't look like we're going to have amazing amounts of power in this car. It's going to be okay. It's probably going to be more powerful than we have seen from some four-wheel drive cars. The likes of the Subaru SVX springs to mind. Yeah, it might actually... now I've said that, it might not actually do too bad. It is going up relatively nicely up to here. We're going to get maybe... Well, we should get past 400. Am I going to have to go for a big power part? It looks like I might do. Yeah, we're going to stick the first... level of camshaft in, and then we can get, okay, so we can get 17 horsepower with that, or we can get 18 and be 1 PI over. Okay, so we're going to go for 17 horsepower then with that in there. 440, and that is more than I was expecting it to get when I started building it and started upgrading. Yeah, that's not too shabby, but there is a fair amount of weight to move. About 408 torque as well. Can we be cheeky? Sometimes, just every so often, you can get away with some other bits and pieces. Oh no, we're not going to be able to drop the PI with a transmission, so we can get 4.1 pounds off with the driveline. Can we get the bonnet on? Sometimes you can get a nice lightened bonnet. Nope, you can't do that, so we will go with the driveline then. Driveline will work. Might as well. Seeing as it doesn't affect the PI, we will go for that. So, yeah, just a smidge over £3,000 for the GTO. 440 horsepower, 408 torque. Four-wheel drive, though, should give us very, very good traction. The bigger question, though, will the handling be good enough? Of course, to test out the GTO, I have brought it to the Hockenheim circuit, where it will have 3 laps in an attempt to go as fast as possible. Our current leader is the Lamborghini Miura with a time of 2:03.3, and that is a time that the GTO is unlikely to really get near. I would be surprised to see this probably getting under a 2:07. I don't think we're likely to be able to go quite that fast. I think we're going to probably struggle to maintain the corner speed with this. You never know. I could be completely and utterly wrong, and I do hope that I am, However, I have a sneaky suspicion that we may struggle. We've also got a lovely sticky out splitter that I suspect will be very, very easy to clip on the odd barrels. We shall wait and see with that one. Okay, first impression, actually not too bad whatsoever going through those opening gates. The handling does seem really rather nice in this vehicle. How fast dare we take? Gonna have to have a lift. Yeah, we can't. Oh, we simply cannot take the speed through there that some of the other cars have. It's gonna have to be a bigger lift through that section. And I did clip a barrel. Oh, trying to get on the power down there has not quite worked. There's not too much understeer though. That I am pleased to see. Oh, god damn it! Got my braking a little wrong through there. Completely missed that section. Okay. Well, considering I was all messed up through there, we still got over 110 miles an hour down the short straight section, which gives me some hope in the acceleration of the car. Oh, God, careful. No, I'm turning in a little bit too soon. I'm expecting there to be a bit more understeer from this. There really isn't. It is a nice handling car. That much is for sure. Oh, that's the kind of gate that it might not like quite as much, being on the larger side, on the heavier side. That is probably the most technical section on the track. Those three gates, all very, very narrow down there. What are the brakes like? Brakes are pretty solid, actually. There's a little bit of panic because I thought I'd got on the brakes a tad too late. We did still, though, get it slowed down and controlled. Brakes are not too bad, considering the weight of the car, although we are, I think, lacking a bit of acceleration, and I definitely can't carry the same speed around there that you can with some of the, well, much faster vehicles. Right, slow it into this final section. There's been a fair few gates missed this time out, so yeah, it's a fairly terrible run. If we can at any point get turned in, this is where we. Ooh, that was. That would have been the splitter just scraping the thing. The barrel didn't even move at all in the mirrors there. Yeah, okay. A fairly awful first run, really, with clippings of gates. However, handling is pretty good. Just got to be aware of the car's limitations, really. So, on to our second run with the GTO. I think I'm going to have to probably change my driving style ever so slightly for this call. We simply can't carry the speed through the gates in the same manner. What I think we're probably going to be best off doing is focusing on getting the car slowed down for the gates and make sure we can get as good a run out of the corner as possible. After all, we're not going to have any traction issues whatsoever in this car. So if we focus on the exit of the gates, that's really pushing my luck through there. Yeah, if I can focus on the exit of these other gates, maybe that will yield a better time. And I'd have to do that with various cars that simply don't have the turn-in to get away with carrying the same ludicrous speed through some of these corners. See, through there, if you can get the line right, GTO is actually quite nice. Here, I suspect we're not quite going to be able to. That's not bad, actually. Yeah, again, if I can make sure to get a good line on the way in, focus on getting the exits, things are looking up, although we really do not have the acceleration at all down there. Oh god, that understeer is starting to creep in. That was only 113 miles an hour. That is one of the slower vehicles. We had 120 plus down there. Now I know that doesn't sound like a huge difference in speed, but when you're on such a short straight, that does go to show the slight lack of acceleration that this car does have. That's not surprising. It weighs a good 1,000 pounds heavier than quite a few vehicles and has, well, about the same horsepower as some of those that are considerably lighter. And while this is nice and... Oh, I meant to change down a gear. I missed the button. That's cost us a little bit through there. Yeah, the power to weight ratio is just not quite there in this vehicle. It is lovely and planted. It's very much my style of car in some respects. The back end is never going to step out. It's never going to misbehave around here. And I have got plenty of confidence in placing the vehicle where I want to. The problem is I just simply can't carry the speed through the corners. We are not on for a particularly amazing time this run. Oh, careful now. I got a little panic. I thought I'd turned in a fraction too soon. Got away with it though as we run towards the line. 209.4 from the GTO. I think I can find a little bit more time, but I'm not sure quite how much. So, on to the final run for the GTO. I would like to possibly get this car under a 209. I think if I can get everything right, if I can try and be maybe a little braver in a couple of places, I think we can get it there, but much faster is going to be quite difficult. It very much drives as I was expecting it to. It is a little bit too heavy, really. It lacks the acceleration. It's even noticeable down here. We've seen cars going into this gate considerably faster and then being able to carry more speed through there. That was neater. It was actually very neat and tidy through there, which was nice, but it's not massively fast. You know, we're talking 10, 15 miles an hour down on the likes of the Focus, the Lamborghini, Miura, the Beetle, and so on. That's a lot of miles an hour to lose at just one corner, and it's a similar story through here. That's still, it is 70 miles an hour. There's a wheel across the grass on the exit. That's how hard I was pushing the car. It's still 70 miles an hour, but it's nowhere near as comfortable with doing that as we have seen some cars. And then around here, definitely, this is where the first hint of understeer. Everywhere else is actually pretty good. That, though, is the first corner where we feel a hint of understeer as I'm trying to get on the power. Make sure to get the car slowed down for this section. This is also not a massively good corner for the GTO, although getting it neat and tidy through there has helped its cause. A little bit more understeer through there that I didn't experience on the previous run. Now I've got to make sure to get the car slowed down here. Yeah, it's just there is just not the grip in the car. I quite like the vehicle, but we just simply do not have enough grip to maintain the corner speed around here. The traction is, you know, lovely, but we've seen powerful rear-wheel drive cars with big tyres can have as good a traction as these four-wheel drive vehicles. I think we are doing a little bit better this time out if we can now be all neat. I'm still trying to push it and carry more speed into this final segment. There we go, actually quite neatly done through those final quarters. A run towards the line, it's a better time, 207.9. I'm actually quite pleased with that run. I'm not sure I could have extracted very much more out of the GTO. That was really good, especially that final section. That was really neat and tidy for that final section towards the line there. I don't think I can get much more out of the GTO. Its problems are as expected, I think. Shave £500 off the weight and we're probably talking a completely different story with the car, but as it is, yeah, it was always likely to struggle a little bit with that. The balance is nice on the car. A couple of places the understeer though can catch you out. Kind of a couple of almost peculiar places. Other points it's really rather good, like that the final wiggle towards the line. It doesn't feel very understeery at all. Down there, just a couple of places though you can get caught out with it. I did quite like it though. I did quite like it. We have often seen that four-wheel drive cars can struggle a little bit with kind of being competitive with the PI, and I think that might be a little bit of the case with this GTO. Its lap time though is pretty respectable, getting to the 207s. It goes into 33rd place. It is a tenth of a second down on the Mazda MX-5. It beats the Opel GT, the 65 Mustang. It does manage to beat the Subaru SVX. I think there's the Subaru SVX is a fair way down with a 209.2. And I wondered if it might be it was a very similar story with the SVX. Quite heavy with not a huge amount of power. So this is definitely a better car than that SVX, but yeah, a little too heavy and perhaps a little too large for the Autocross. Still, though, I do quite like it. A nice enough car to drive and a relatively easy car to drive around here, but we do lack some grip. However, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.